So we've got a reform to Proposition 47 in California going on. And Governor Gavin Newsom, he does not want to see that reform go through. Maybe until like 2026, after the whole election. I just need some more time to work on this, and then we'll get you the deal that you want. Got a bunch of leaked emails from California district attorneys, and we got some shenanigans going on. And then we're going to watch a video, Tristan and Cut, and let's check out this video.
As California is finding out, Prop 47 is the main contributor to many of the public safety woes that we have in California, from homelessness to drug addiction to theft. And the overall majority, almost 80% of California, wants Proposition 47 repealed or major reforms. And everyone is aware of that, except for our governor and a handful of politicians in California who have got behind Prop 47. That was their baby. Social experiment is basically what it was. Failed one at that. And they have doubled down, tripled down, and now quadrupled down on their support of Prop 47. And we know that we have to make these changes. So right now we have the proposition has officially qualified to be on the November ballot. So we're very happy about that. We don't know of the number yet, but the name is going to be the Drug Addiction, Homelessness, and Theft Prevention Act.
Drug addiction, homelessness, theft prevention. Pretty much covers it all, doesn't it?
So we're happy with that. That says exactly what it is. And everyone in California needs to be aware, and they need to know that this thing must pass if we are going to make substantial changes to Prop 47. It is unethical. It is immoral. And this is exactly what Californians are sick of from our governor, from our attorney general, and from our legislature. We have activists, we have pro-criminal activists that are running our state government, and they are continuously lying to the general public. And we are all tired of it. We're sick of it. And this is just another example of the underhandedness and I will say it. It is completely unethical what they were doing, just trying to stop us from making fixes to Prop 47. Sometimes you have to just apply common sense, and you have to say, look, there's a good, right, common sense answer, and this is what needs to happen. And their support of Prop 47 defies all common sense. Now, you go to a person like me who has been fighting this for years. We know 100% that this was all been by design. This entire pro-criminal, create chaos in the state, create business closures, create businesses to leave, close stores. That is a political far left agenda that makes government in control of everything. They can't have independent law enforcement. They can't have independent businesses. They can't have independent ownership. Everything has to be done by the government, either the federal government or the state government. And from 2014, they have been touting this as a success. They've been lying to us. And so for them to all of a sudden come out and say they're going to support our proposition that makes some changes to Prop 47, they are going to have to admit that they've been lying to us all along. Now, we all know it. We all know they've been lying to us. It is completely obvious and apparent, but they are going to have to be the person that stands up and said, okay, we were wrong, and now we need to fix it. And the problem is you have activists running our state. You have political, ideological activists. They don't care about Californians. They care only about their mission, and that is to make government bigger. It's to make people more dependent on government. And how you do that is by creating chaos within your public safety system, where the public believes that the police can no longer protect them. San Francisco believes that the police are no longer effective and cannot protect them. And then in one day, the governor comes in with the highway patrol, the saviors of crime and punishment, and they come in and clean up San Francisco. we should be doing that all along. But it makes it completely apparent that it's political. And the priority in California is definitely not your safety. It is not the safety of Californians. If it were, we would have made completely opposite decisions since prison alignment in 2012 with AB 109. When you have an overcrowding problem in a prison, you build another prison. You don't release all the inmates. If you have an overcrowding problem in your home, you have 5 kids in a 1-bedroom home, you get a different size home to accommodate your kids. You don't give away your kids. It is super, super basic common sense. And what happened back in 2012 is prison realignment happened, and they didn't fix the problem. They just pushed it all onto the counties. So it's created this massive problem in the county systems with inmates. It didn't stop crime. It did nothing to prevent crime. It's actually made it worse because there's no punishment. And so over the years, the governor, our current governor, from day one has made it a stated mission to close as many prisons as he possibly can, because he doesn't believe that anyone should be in prison. So what's happening now is the current budget crisis. We're billions, what, 80 billion? It's arguably from 60 billion to 80 billion, 47 billion to 80 billion shortfall in our government. And we have to decide, they have to decide where that money's going to come from. What are you going to cut? They're not cutting healthcare for all illegal immigrants that come into this country that are completely abusing the system. $5 billion. What they want to do is cut $1 billion more from our prison system. All that's going to do is release more prisoners into our streets. It is basic public safety common sense that our government is furthering the problem with public safety by how they are constructing our budgets and where we're spending our money. So it's just more deceit, lies, and misinformation from government. And you have to be really careful, because they say something that there's a tiny little bit of truth into it. So they're going to say, we're not lying. It's the proof. Here's our statistics, or here's the dollar amount. But how you get to that point is the real story. And that's the dishonesty. So back when there were 150,000 inmates in custody, we still had the same amount of prisons. We still had the same amount of correctional officers. And it was completely unsafe for those correctional officers. It was completely unsafe for the prisoners because of overcrowding, because they didn't want to build more prisons. The important thing to know about this proposition is Prop 47 created rules that were made and laws that were implemented by voters. That means that the legislators cannot change Prop 47. Prop 47 is the ruling law, the ruling group of laws and rules, because it was approved and voted on by California voters. Our legislators know this. They know that they cannot have a legislative fix for all of the issues with Prop 47. This proposition must be passed for us to make those changes. Once we started gaining a lot of momentum on getting the signatures and making sure this was going to happen and we were going to be successful, the Democratic leadership, particularly our governor, had to come up with a plan of how to sabotage this. And they've actually come up with a very ingenious plan. And it's going to be important for Californians to know that they're being fooled again, or at least the government, our California state government, is trying to fool them again, the same way they did originally with Prop 47 by calling it the Safe Schools and Safe Streets Initiative, which it did completely the opposite. This particular time, they are quadrupling down on their support for Prop 47. And after the last 4 years of complete anti-public safety laws and laws that made it more difficult for us to arrest and prosecute criminals. It made it easier for criminals to get out of jail by some of the changes that they made in old laws. They have come up with a plan all of a sudden in an election year to have their own set of public safety bills that they say is going to fix the issues that we have with theft and with drug use and all those things. I need everyone to be fully aware. It is completely disingenuous. It is not true. They are misrepresenting factual law, and they are trying to fool the voters once again. While law enforcement is supporting the majority of these bills, we know, and we are telling them that it's far too little. It's almost just window dressing. There's still not a lot of teeth in the bills that they're trying to pass. But yet they got law enforcement support because for the first time since 2014, we have bills that are going to create a punishment for criminal behavior. So of course we want to get on board. Then as soon as they got us on board, what they're doing now is they want to add an amendment to these bills that would automatically repeal the bills should our proposition pass on the November ballot. And what that does, this is where the sneaky, underhanded, unethical part comes in by our governor and by our legislative leaders. There should be no reason why we are limiting what laws we pass to disincentivize criminal behavior, to punish criminal behavior. And what they're doing is they're making it an emergency, so they're going to get immediate authorization to implement these rules. And then they will use our fraudulent attorney general to create a narrative for the voter guide that says, if you support this proposition in the November ballot, it will repeal this, a dozen bills that were emergency, pro-public safety, all these crime bills. And so basically people are going to read the ballot statement and say, wow, if I vote for this is going to completely repeal a whole bunch of laws that are good that law enforcement supported. And then so they're going to vote no on the Prop 47 fix.
I know that was a lot of video, but that was the best explanation that I've had, that I've seen, that I've heard of this overall situation. Proposition 47 has been pointed at as basically the downfall of California from the standpoint of drugs and shoplifting and crime and just the whole way that the drug and shoplifting and criminal activity ecosystem now works. You've got this background for it, and you've created this situation of just basically anarchy, right? Let the crime just, let it rip. Just absolutely let it rip, because the criminals know there is nothing. There's no pushback on their activities. Crime doesn't stop. So if you followed that last part where he was stating, and this is a sheriff in Riverside, California, I have no reason to believe that he's lying to us. You know what I mean? Everything that he stated to me makes absolute sense from the standpoint of what I've followed on this issue. And I think what was really interesting is, hey, the general public knows we need to repeal Proposition 47 because that put us in a world of hurt. So how can we sneakily get around that? How can we basically, head fake the general public and get them to believe we're going this way? Head fake. Got to follow the belly button, because belly button you can't do a fake with. Try and fake your guy out with your belly button. Not going to happen. That's basketball coaching terminology, right? From the probably 70s. I don't know. Is it still relevant today? Well, you can move your head, but it's hard to really shake that belly button in a way that gets somebody to go the other way. So the belly button shake is, let's create a bunch of laws that that have some teeth to getting criminal activity back in line with what we think it should be, which is more people in jail, more people in prison, more of that. But they don't want to do that, right? They don't want to do that. So they're going to float a bunch of these, maybe it's a dozen laws, that are going to say that, hey, we're going to hammer down on crime. Here's how we're going to do it, that are weak at best. But those will get automatically just basically discontinued if Proposition 47 goes into place. The reform on Proposition 47 goes into place. So that's underhanded. If this is all correct and true, man, yeah, that is some sneaky stuff. And I'm giving you just kind of the broad strokes here, because I'm more of a broad strokes kind of guy. And I just want to know, all right, does this make sense or does it not make sense? Proposition 47 to me has never made sense. And I'm from Washington State, but you can just kind of look at what's going on in California. You've got pretty strong Democrats just leaving California in droves because of Proposition 47 type impact, where just across the board, you've stated, well, let's just let everybody out of jail. This should work out just fine. Nobody belongs to be in prison. Criminal activity, let's just create a situation where we're just going to let it rip. And that's where we sit. General public knows something's got to be done. Something's got to change. But they don't really understand the nuances of the laws that are out there in front of them. So I thought the video from the sheriff, that's why I played as much of it as I did, because I thought he broke it down in a way that I can understand. Hopefully you guys can too. I know I'm an appraiser and, I'm real estate, it's just kind of one of these things. I don't have a background in law enforcement, but what I try and do is bring, all right, how do we break this down into bite-sized chunks that we can all kind of figure out? And so this one to me makes absolute sense. What will happen with the Proposition 47 amendment? Will it go on to the voting process? Man, in about a week, we're going to find out. So stay tuned. Hit that notification bell if you're already a subscriber. If you're not, love to have you subscribe, do all that good stuff, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye for now.